I feel like he's talking to someone else. He says it's my insecurity, but why? If you feel that way, there's probably something to it. Especially a lot of women have this amazing intuition that can tell when there's something going on, but you're not sure because you don't have proof. I would see about getting full transparency. He hides everything, but demands, records, and harasses me into always being transparent at all times. But he is not. So yeah, you need to get out of that. So he's cheating on you. I'll just call it like that. Like he wants full access to you, but you can't have access to him. That's not a relationship. That's a control. He's keeping you caged so he can still control you while he still goes out and does whatever he wants. Will narcissists use the new spouse to financially support their kids from previous marriage? 100%. They'll try to freeload off of anybody. Mine keeps saying things like, I put my own wants, needs before my own. Why you always make it seem like life is so bad. It's trying to like put you down. Narcissist wants to put you down so that your needs are minimized and theirs is accelerated. Is it common for them to abandon his child altogether? 100%, because he doesn't care about the child. He doesn't care about you, doesn't care about anybody else, cares about his own mask, his own image, and what he wants in the moment. How the narcissist abuses you is the same ways that he'll start abusing the kid. Why is it so hard not to be triggered by a narcissist? Because every time that you're triggered, it's activating emotion that activates a story that you're telling yourself. Sometimes it's, I'm not good enough. Sometimes if I would have done better, he would have still been here. It's a million different stories that you could believe and that could be in your mindset. The goal is like to work on the triggers so that when you get triggered, we can actually help you move forward so you don't respond in a negative way. So we focus on inside the Clarity Challenge as well. Mine cheated before, and now is another guy reacting to her post I'm not friends with. 35 years of experience with this man. I filed. It's done. The guy could get everything from me if he just be kind and admit to cheating. He can't do that. Still raging and threats. Yeah, so you need a divorce. You need to get out of that relationship because, like, if he can't be honest, there's no relationship. You don't even have a foundation for, like, anything. How to handle the guilt trip when they've done you wrong, how to know if it's manipulation. If they've done you wrong, then they should be the ones guilty, not you. A lot of times the narcissist will put it back on you and make you feel like it's your fault when they're the ones that did it. Now, my mom is horribly abusive and mentally ill. She needs to be in a mental institution or jail especially. Why is it so hard for narcissists to respect boundaries? It's not hard for narcissists to respect boundaries. They just don't care. Like at the end of the day, you need to understand, like when narcissists can respect boundaries, they respect them early on in the relationship because they know if I do this, I get the end result. I get you. Narcissist doesn't actually care about your boundaries. Like any form of them like changing or conforming so they can get what they want. But then later down the road, like they don't care about your boundaries at all. Ben, your videos helped me understand and learn so much. Thank you and congratulations. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's been helpful. He has two husband and wife friends, and I feel like I look like the crazy one. Why? A lot of times they're trying to pit you to look like the crazy one so they can get away with what they're doing. And you spend so much time validating that you're not crazy that you waste so much time not even noticing what's actually here. Very accurate. He started psychologically hurting the kids like he did to me. The kids are attached to him. What do I do? You're going to have to provide a safe place for the kids. Depending on the kids, you're getting like custody or trying to focus on like your time with them because they're not going to get the support from him. How to make someone understand they're dating a narcissist. Share with them videos, talk to them about like, hey, I just learned about this, but don't really confront or attack because a lot of times if you do that, they'll be like, oh no, I need to be able to protect this. You see the same thing with kids. If you start telling the kids to pit them against another person, not intentionally, but like, hey, this person's abusive, they'll be like, no, they're not abusive. So you have to be careful of how you actually bring that up. Can you speak about narcissistic collapse? Is it possible to manufacture this so they change? No, because narcissistic collapse doesn't mean they're going to change. Narcissistic injury doesn't mean they're going to change. They have to actually want it. Majority of narcissists don't even get to a collapse or get to a place where it's actually affecting them in a negative way. They just pivot. They just morph. They just change into the aspect of like, I'm the victim, all that kind of stuff. My stepdad, let's see. No, I lost that. He has two. Why do narcissists triangulate? It's power and control. So is it possible to put in the work to not be a narcissist? What's your first step to change? So for me, part of it was getting the EMDR and then also therapy and regular counseling therapy. The biggest aspect was getting into Wake Up Warrior. I work with a couple of guys that are inside there that have come to me and we work on stuff together to try to help them grow, change, and develop. The biggest thing is like the first step to a narcissist actually work on themselves is to stop fucking lying. Like if he wants to be a man, stop fucking lying. That's what it boils down to. But the majority of time, people are like, narcissists can't change. Yeah, they're incapable of change while they still have this mask up. If they're not willing to be honest, vulnerable, and show that consistency, like nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. Is writing a book about narcissism some sort of negative supply for the narcissist because you would think I can't let go? I went on to write a book. If you wrote a book, publish it, glow up, be the best thing ever. Who cares what he thinks? Why is he treating me like shit after I file for divorce and he had the affair? Because he wants to paint you as the bad guy so he doesn't feel bad in the fact that you're divorcing him over that. Also, it helps his story so he can look good to everybody else when it's his fault. Why am I so obsessed with the idea my recent separated spouse is doing the exact same thing she did with me when we first started out years ago? Because it probably is, especially if they're a narcissist. Do you think that collapse could make them even worse? 100%. A lot of times they'll see that. Why would narcissists lie about knowing the victim? I don't know exactly where we're going to that. A lot of times the narcissist is going to lie, period. It's just like habit at that point. Every time he cheated and talked to other girls, his excuse was to talk to us to get their opinion. Yeah, that's a bunch of BS. So he's going to use any excuse. Any excuse will do. Melanie, you can hear us. Awesome. Hello. Let's see. 18 years with a narcissist, left his job to go sheep farming, and financial burden is on me. A lot of times they're going to do that, try to put it back on you. Do you have a link to join your group? I don't. You'd have to grab a one-on-one with me or shoot me a message. We can see about talking about it. Yeah, you can message me on Instagram too. Discard after 12 years. The new supply is 22. He's 40. Doesn't even allow her to have his own car. Yeah, so he's got ultimate control. It's going to keep going. Why did my ex file a fault divorce against me, even though he pled guilty to domestic violence? Basically, so he looks better. Like he's trying to paint the story different. Not caring what a narcissist thinks equals freedom. Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, that's what we're actually seeking, is you actually establishing your own freedom, breaking the trauma bond, getting rid of the rumination, having the tools to be able to work through the triggers. That's what we teach. That's how we actually help people move forward. Because until you break the trauma bond, you're always going to be addicted to the thought process of that person, validation from that person, or external validation. We're looking like, how do you actually build that with you? Like, that's the version of reality of you standing in confidence, clarity, and certainty of who you are and the direction you want to go, so that anybody that comes in your life either supports that or gets out of your life. That's really what we're about. I'm not trying to feel bad for him, but why don't we accept their behavior if it's a mental disorder, but we accept people with depression? Because typically people with depression aren't putting your heads through walls, aren't gaslighting you and making you feel like you're an idiot, and also aren't cheating on you. So there's a big difference there as far as when we talk about abuse. And it's a good reason not to put up for their behavior, because it's also a choice. Unpopular opinion, it's still a choice. It was a choice when I was abusing. It was a choice when I was cheating. And this whole aspect of, yes, it's a mental disorder, but the whole aspect of they can't help it. It's a bunch of bullshit. They can help it. I could have helped it. I chose not to help it because I was unwilling to be honest with myself, and I was unwilling to be a man and actually step up and be honest with others. That's it.